WSU Food Systems Hub meeting, and this is just a picture from a recent event that we were able to attend back in February. It was one of our last in-person events associated with the Organic Seed Growers Conference over the same weekend, and this is at the Variety Showcase that was hosted by the Culinary Breeding Network in Portland, Oregon, with three sisters next to Mall. Pedro's one of the co-owners, and he's participated in a lot of our Cascadia Grains programs and other grain-related work. So it was a wonderful time to be together, and I look forward to being able to share time with all of you again in person. Just an overview of our meeting today. So we're going to be having a discussion about the Eat Local First Collaborative. I'm going to provide just a quick overview of the WSU Food Systems Hub. As part of the collaborative, we have Tilth Alliance, Sustainable Connections, Pierce County Fresh, the Local Food Trust, the WSU Regional Small Farms Program, and WSU Food Systems Program. We probably won't all be talking, but we are all participating, although I don't know if we have anyone from the Regional Small Farms Program on the call today. And then we'll have some time to share. I just want to welcome all of you. Please take some time to introduce yourself in the Zoom chat box. Let us know who you are, where you're located, what you do. Please also use this chat box to ask questions, share links, and also resources for the group. We'll be putting lots of links in there today related to the Eat Local First Collaborative as well. So it's going to be a great resource to be able to take with you after the call if you want to copy those links or you want to get a copy of the chat box dialogue. And I just want to thank my team for being here as well. We have Nicole Witham, our program coordinator for the state. We have Abba Kaiser, our project manager, and Tia Taylor, who's our office coordinator. So none of this would be possible without all of their hard work. I wanted to give an update on our study circles. We talked about this last week. We had Marcy and Kate on the line talking about their study circle. I put the link up here for any of you who want to sign up. It's a limited number of spaces for this time around. It starts in September. There was still a few spots open for Marcy and Kate's study circle. So if you want to join other food systems program team members and partners across the Washington food system, we're all trying to sign up for the same study circle so we can participate in this 5-week program together. So again, if you have any questions, please let us know. I have the link here for anyone who's interested in signing up. So a little bit about the food systems program. This is, we're almost in our we've almost completed our 3rd year of the program. We seek to work with communities throughout the state to foster viable farm businesses, optimize sustainable natural resource stewardship, and to promote scaled processing and distribution, always in the pursuit of access to healthy food for all. We evolved out of the WSU Small Farms team. And we have several different focus areas beyond sustainable farming practices that we work on across the Washington food system: equitable access, energy and waste reduction, processing and distribution, policy and regulation, economic benefits, and farmland and resource conservation. We are part of a statewide network associated with WSU Extension. We seek to promote research, implement change, and provide unparalleled educational opportunities for farm and food system stakeholders throughout Washington. We're located in all 39 counties in Washington state, as well as on the Colville Reservation, and we're associated with all of our campus locations, as well as the research and extension centers. So a little bit about the WSU Food Systems Hub. So the purpose of the hub is to provide a space to connect regularly, both with our WSU folks and external partners working across the Washington food system, to collect and update COVID-19 resources to support the Washington food system, to participate in a dynamic needs assessment tool, and to provide time and space to share stories and receive support. Just a reminder of our calendar of events. So if you have events that are coming up that you want posted here, please let us know. We'll get them up and running. We're also trying to post links to webinars that have already taken place, so you can at least access them after they've been recorded. So again, if you have anything that you want to share, please go ahead and send it to us by email, or you can drop it into the chat box. Just a reminder to take the needs assessment tool for last week. So you can find, this is the link for it here, and you can also find it in the registration email that you received to register for today's Zoom call. And just a plug for a new WSDA resource. I'm gonna turn it over to Karen and let her share a little bit about this new resource from WSDA.
Hi, thanks Laura and Nicole for a last minute plug here. Hi again, I'm Karen. I work with the WSDA Regional Markets team. And really hot off the press here are two videos that we developed in response to COVID. They're videos tailored towards small and direct marketing farms, and they're focused on two aspects. The first video we developed right after about the time around June when Governor Inslee established a proclamation requiring specific requirements for farm employers. Those are things like implementing requirements around physical distancing, PPE use, hand washing, making sure employees are staying home when they're sick, a whole host of kind of specific, more mandatory requirements for farms. So what we've tried to do is take those and apply them in a more small and farm direct marketing setting, and hopefully help to visualize how this could look during the workplace, and during like production practices. So that's the first video, and then there's a second animated video. They're both about 4 minutes long or so. And the second one, we focused more on, okay, there's a lot of requirements out for, retail space, grocery stores, but how does that look for smaller farms that are maybe doing more creative selling options where maybe it's not a official brick and mortar, maybe it's now switching to, for example, doing pop-up markets, or doing more home deliveries, or how does it look on a U-Pick operation? How do we apply these? And helping farms think of themselves as pulling from these different resources, from whether it's Department of Health or Labor and Industries, or resources that WSDA is coming out with. I do want to thank some partners in the development of these videos. We had several people that were helping us review and check that we were on the right track with the recommendations we were providing, giving out. Of course, this is an evolving topic and issue, but we had help with Department of Health, WSU Food Safety, Labor and Industries, and we have also, what's really great is we have created these into 2 different languages. So they are available in Spanish and also in Hmong. They're all available on our WSD YouTube page, and just this morning, the second video was posted on Facebook. So you will see definitely an email coming out probably by end of today. This is just a snapshot of that, asking partners to help us share the word by either reposting on Facebook or forwarding the email that I'll be sharing out on the various listservs today. So that's a quick snippet. Hope you guys can watch and listen in, and get it out to farmers that can share it with their farm staff. And they are really good. They're a high-level summary, and it's really condensed content there. So I think it'll be useful for folks.
Thanks, Karen. If you have questions for Karen about this resource, you can go ahead and pop those in the chat, or if anyone has a specific question they want to ask right now before we move on. Okay, great. So we are going to get started talking about the Eat Local First Collaborative. I am just one of many people who participate in this collaborative, and I came in after a lot of the momentum had already started as well. So I'm going to turn it over to many of the partners today to be able to also share how the collaborative came into being. And the collaborative itself, and correct me if I'm wrong, this work was started pre-COVID. So there had already been some discussions about how we could all work together more intentionally. But then with the pandemic, it became much more urgent to see how we could be collaborating to create resources for Washingtonians to find and access local food. So the Eat Local First Collaborative came out of that, and I have links here for the landing page that we have set up. So local food means food that is grown, caught, raised, and made right here in Washington State. And you can just see here a little bit more information. These are the collaborative partners. So we have Pierce County Fresh, and I believe Misha's on the phone with us today, or on Zoom with us today. We have Sustainable Connections, and Marissa is on the call with us today. We have the Regional Small Farms Program, and I'm not sure if Kelly or Clea are on the phone with us today, but I can share a little bit about that program as well. We have the Local Food Trust with Patricia on the call today, and then Tilth Alliance, and we have a couple folks from Tilth Alliance. We have Cheryl, Melissa, and Gwen, who've all been working through Tilth Alliance to support this. Normally we'd have Sarah Sutherland here as well, but she's out of the office right now. She's also with Sustainable Connections. And then I can share a little bit about the participation of the Food Systems Program. This is our press release, so hopefully you have seen this come out in the last week or so. I know Cheryl's been trying to get it out through our listserv, and we'll make sure that it gets routed to all of you. And I think I believe Nicole already sent it out this week as well. So I think we've seen it. Hopefully many of you have already seen this. It gives a lot of information about the Eat Local First Washington directory. And so what the collaborative has pulled together at this point is a landing page. And we were able to do that with some funding from the WSDA Regional Markets Program to begin the process of developing a landing page for existing directories. So it's not a comprehensive list of all the directories in Washington State. We're hoping that it will eventually get to that point. And in the meantime, the collaborative submitted a USDA local food promotion program grant to fund the development of one statewide food and farm finder for Washington. So our goal is to be able to come up with one large directory that can be used regionally by several different organizations and partners, as well as individuals, to be able to access information about finding local food and farms. And I'm really thrilled to be working with this group because we've really committed to working on the project regardless of the grant outcome. So there's been a lot of discussion about, well, what do we do if we don't get the grant? And we really want to see this happen. So we're really thrilled to be working together. So this is just a list. This is the listings that we currently have on the landing page. You can create one for free with any of these partner websites if you're a producer or a food business and you don't currently have a listing. And I have each of these landing pages as slides as well, but I would like to turn it over before we get into all of these landing pages to our partners so that they can share their participation in the collaborative and a little bit more of the background of how it came together. So I'm happy to have Marissa or Melissa start out. Take your pick.
Sorry.
Marissa, do you mind starting, Marissa?
No, not at all.
So I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Marissa. I am the Food and Farming Marketing Coordinator from Sustainable Connections. Sustainable Connections is a nonprofit based in Bellingham, Washington. We serve the 4-county region of Whatcom, Skagit, San Juan, and Island counties. We create thriving communities through innovative ideas, collaboration, and action. And this is just a snapshot of our 5 programs. Think Local First, Food and Farming, Towards Zero Waste, Green Building and Smart Growth, and Energy Efficiency and Renewables. So we really focus on helping businesses in our communities implement sustainability practices in a wide range of areas. Scotch Food Waste is one of our Towards Zero Waste programs that we've been working with the local community and also businesses to recover food that otherwise would have gone into the landfill. We work with partners such as Aslan to recover food, and that food gets redistributed to local shelters, to the Lummi tribe. So lots of cool things happening there. We also received the 2019 Recycler of the Year Award from Washington State Recycling Association. Think Local First is something we do in the community to try and not only promote local food, which we do a lot of, but reminding folks to support all of our local businesses, and we do that in a number of ways. One of them is the Think Local First local gift guide that we do in the holiday season. Also, I just have to mention that we merged with Cloud Mountain Farm Center last year. So for those of you that probably know Tom and Cheryl Thornton, they are getting ready to retire and really needed to create a good plan for Cloud Mountain to continue its efforts of education in the community. So Sustainable Connections and Cloud Mountain Farm Center merged last year, and really excited about what we'll be able to accomplish merging our two organizations to continue educating the community and training up new farmers. We also have a lot of energy initiatives that we help businesses with, including the Solarize campaign. And then our farm to table trade meeting is part of the food and farming program. We usually host this in February, which we did get to do this year, which is really exciting. It brings together over 200 buyers and producers from our region and even the state. This year we had some representatives from Facebook and Amazon come up and participate as well. This event generates over $1 million in new sales for local food and farming businesses. The Eat Local First campaign we started in 2011 out of this 4-county region of Whatcom, Skagit, San Juan, and Island counties as an effort to educate our community about local food and help them identify it when they see it. So that's a little overview of what we do at Sustainable Connections. Obviously, we're talking about the Eat Local First Collaborative, and we launched the Food Atlas a couple of years ago. I'm going to skip, sorry, this slide is not what I had intended to show. There it is. The Food Atlas is our go-to portal for finding local food. And like I said, we launched it 2 years ago, and we've been spending the past couple of years really just working to make it a really useful resource in our community and a place for folks to go find any type of food that's being produced here in our region. There are currently 700 listings from farms, fishers, markets, restaurants, food banks, and meal programs. Yeah, and just really looking forward to what might be possible through the collaborative. So that's what I have for y'all.
Great, thanks so much, Marissa. And we'll go over each of these landing pages and just once we hear from other partners as well, walk you through the process.
All right, I'm going to see if I can actually share my screen now. Let's see.
Excellent.
How it works.
Let me see here.
So I'm Melissa Spear from, can people see my screen at this point? Hopefully. Yep. Okay. And I don't know if I can make this go now too.
You can go into your presenter mode also, Melissa, and it shouldn't create any issues.
Okay, let's see if I can do that. Oops. There we go. So I'm the bones of Tilth Alliance. I'll just talk for a second about that. The organization is actually about 45 years old. it actually was formed in, the Alliance was formed in 2016 with the merger of 3 organizations, Tilth Producers, which was historically focused on supporting and promoting organic agriculture statewide in Washington, Seattle Tilth, which was focused on promoting and supporting organic gardening, among other programs in the city of Seattle and surrounding communities. And then Cascade Harvest Coalition, which created and ran the Farm Guide, which is a directory that connects consumers to farmers across the state of Washington. So those older organizations formed Tilth Alliance in 2016. Our operations are based in Seattle, but we partner and work statewide, in particular around supporting small to mid-sized farmers in the state of Washington. Our budget is around $4 million. We have about 32 staff. And so our mission is to work in community with Washington farmers, gardeners, and eaters to build a sustainable, healthy, and equitable food system. We have strategic priorities, which are also around advancing organic, regenerative, and sustainable growing practices, but that includes working with consumers to increase demand for organic products and to help us advocate as consumers for food and agricultural policies that support a more sustainable food future. So just briefly looking at our programs, we have in Seattle, we have market programs that are focused on food access, and this includes Good Food Bags, which is basically a market CSA where we purchase from local farmers and bag produce, and it's distributed to low-income families, and this is largely supported by contracts and grants with the city of Seattle and a few other funders as well, and we distribute 12 to 1,500 bags of food each week to low-income families. We also run a farm stand at our site in South Seattle, Arbuff Dub, and we run a CSA. Both of those are also subsidized, so it's providing low-income food, which is both grown at Arbuff Dub and purchased from local farmers to low-income families in Seattle. We run food and garden programs, which are focused on promoting organic gardening practices, and working with food throughout the community. We also provide meals and food to seniors throughout Seattle. And we train volunteers and work with volunteers to create and implement sustainability programs within their communities. That's soil and water stewards. We have youth and family programs, summer camp, field trips, youth employment. We have natural home and yard programs. We run a garden hotline, the garden hotline, I should say, and do a lot of community outreach around recycling and sustainable practices, composting throughout the city of Seattle. But looking now at the farm programs, which is really where our work with the ELF Collaborative lies, we partner with WSU on Farm Walks. That's one of the signature programs that I think that we have. We run our annual conference, which is focused on providing networking opportunities and learning opportunities for farmers across the state of Connecticut. We run the Washington State Organic Farming Fund grant program. We administer that for Human Links, where we give out somewhere around $400,000 in award grant funds to farms who are looking for funds to implement sustainable practices on their farm. We operate the Farm Guide and also FarmLink, which connects landowners to farmers looking to farm. So our involvement in Eat Local First sort of comes out of the work that we've done with Farm Guide. The Farm Guide was originally created and run by Cascade Harvest Coalition, as I said, and we merged with them and have been operating the Farm Guide ever since the merger. But we became aware through work that we were doing with a USDA grant, an FMPP grant, of the work that Sustainable Connections has been doing regionally in the Northwest area of the Puget Sound area out of Bellingham. And you know, in starting to talk to them, it was clear that there was an opportunity to really grow both of our directories by working together. And Sustainable Connections had already been working with some of the other partners that are currently members of the ELF Collaborative. And so that initiated a whole series of conversations with this group where it was clear that having, as opposed to confusing consumers by having them have to go to 6 different sites in order to see, to find farms, no matter where they were, that it made sense for all of us to come together and merge our directories into one comprehensive directory, and also begin to look at working not only around merging the directories, but other ways that we could really promote and create a campaign to interest consumers and to motivate consumers to buy and eat locally and support their local farms. So we, as Laura said, we've created a landing page, and we're looking forward now to having more than a landing page, but actually having one single database that has all of the farm listings from across the state, so that it's a one-stop shop for consumers to go and find a farm no matter where they are, to find local food no matter where they are. So that is how this has all started, and we're very excited to be a part of this effort.
Great, thank you so much, Melissa. I will share my screen to show where we have these databases, and I know. So this is we've heard from. Let me see here. Sustainable Connections, and this is their particular page, their particular directory, and then Tilth talked about the farm guide. And so right now we're really looking to encourage producers to sign up to one of these databases. So it's totally free right now to sign up, get your listing up there, and then as we move forward with the project, we'll try to pull together that, like we said, that single database. And then this is the Pierce County Fresh page. So Amisha has been a really important partner all along. She brings a really unique perspective as a producer as well. And I wanted to see if she was on the call today and wanted to share a little bit, particularly about Pierce County Fresh and her involvement in ELF.
I don't see her on our list today. I'm not sure if she was able to make it.
Okay.
She might be out midwifing with pigs, or...
That's true. That's true.
You never know.
So Pierce County Fresh is one of the regional partners. So we have databases. Sustainable Connections has really led the way with a lot of their underlying work that had already been done to create an Eat Local First database through their program, and then additionally Tilth as well with their statewide resource with their farm guide. So I feel like with the participation in this, they have really been the two anchors of this work. And then we've had regional partners as well associated with the collaborative, Pierce County Fresh, and then also the Regional Small Farms Program. So this is out of Clallam, Jefferson, and Kitsap counties. This is managed primarily by Clea Rome, who's located in Clallam County, and Laura Reeser, who's located in Kitsap County, and then Kelly Henwood, who's in Jefferson County. So the three of them collaborate together with many other partners in the region to put together these directories. And then WSU is our food systems program, is a statewide program, has also become part of this collaborative as well. And for those of you who may not be aware, we have a statewide farm finder as well that has been around for many, many years. It's fairly outdated, but does cover the entire state. So we have I believe, over 1,000 listings on this Farm Finder as well. So what we have set up for the collaborative is the landing page, which I thought I put in here. I'm just going to go back and see. I'll go up and actually pull it up for all of you so you can see the landing page. And what we're able to do, let's see here, is direct people to the landing page so that they can search one of these databases in the meantime, while we're still working to get a single database set up. And that was done through the USDA Local Food Promotion Program. And Sustainable Connections took the lead on submitting that grant. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so here is the landing page for Eat Local First. So you come down, and then it has each of our databases linked up here. So if you have a resource around the state, a database in your region that could be shared onto this landing page, please let us know. We would be happy to be able to populate this. Right now we have the 5 collaborative partners here. And then we also have other regional farm directories. So you can come down and look here at Western Washington, what's listed, Central, South Puget Sound, and Olympic Peninsula, Southwest Washington, Eastern Washington, Central Washington, and then statewide. So we know that it's not comprehensive right now, but the goal is to have one place where consumers can come to find local food. And then with the long-term goal of then creating a statewide resource where you can go and search just one database to find all of this information. Right now, we don't have the funding or capacity to be able to create that database without additional resources, but that's what we're working towards right now as a collaborative. So we're putting together a business plan regardless of the grant outcome so that we can really look at how to make this something that's sustainable over the long run. And we're also looking at what it would look like to merge the work that we've all done separately to create these databases as well, and make sure that there's still a regional identity to the work that's already gone in here. So for instance, being able to go into a statewide database and still be able to pull down listings that are specific to Pierce County or Pierce County Fresh. So a lot of the back-end logistics that we're still working on. WSU, the role that we're playing as a food systems program and sort of the bigger grant package is to continue to do research as well on social networks and social marketing, and to understand how people interact with the database and the platform. And that is being led by my colleague, Dr. Jiang Sun, who works specifically on understanding how social media and social platforms are used to engage consumers and create shared language and shared knowledge about different resources. So she's going to be working on this from a food systems perspective. So I just want to open it up to other partners to share a little bit more about the collaborative itself, opportunities for others to plug in if they have databases that they know of that are being curated right now, and a little bit more just about the direction we're hoping to go. And obviously questions. If you have questions, please put them in the chat box.
Laura, this is Gwen from Tilth Alliance. I think you did a really good job of kind of encapsulating where we are right now and where we're going. And that there's there's some funding pieces in there that we're waiting on. Just one of the things that we're working on right now is looking at each of these separate databases that everybody has and figuring out, everybody developed them separately. So how do we merge them all? And it's going to be kind of a one-by-one process. And so that's a little time consuming, but we're actually making headway on that. And So just wanted to add that in there.
Great, thank you.
Hi, Laura. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Laura and Melissa and Marissa, for the presentation. It was really great to have this out to everyone. I wanted to add to what I messaged about that, you know, it's still, there's opportunities for farms to sign up. And we've actually, between all the lists, we have a fairly, I won't say complete, but a fairly comprehensive representation of farms and farmers markets around the state. I would say that this year, the Tilth Alliance Farm Guide was able to expand into Eastern Washington more than it had, particularly in the Spokane, and a bit more into Central Washington. But there is, and also Southwest Washington, but there are 39 counties in Washington state, and we don't have all of them. Between all of our different lists are not represented. And so I just want to encourage everyone to, if there's a way that I can help get information out to farms on how to sign up, and if they need help doing that, I can assist in helping them get a listing created. We've done that for farmers in the Hmong community, in the Latinx community, and so Gwen has been really instrumental there because of her Spanish language skills. So Jude, I see that where should farms sign up now? So if, depending on where that farm is, if they're in a region that is kind of statewide, they can sign up on the Tilth Alliance list, WSU Farm Finder. If they're in Whatcom, they can also sign up for the Food Atlas, so whatever lists apply to them. But I would encourage all of you to get the information out, and I'm going to put my email in again, and you can contact me, and I will be happy to get you sign up information.
So this is Melissa again. I also want to, so we're spending a lot of time talking about the database, which is really an important tool that we're all working on together. But I just wanted to make clear that the ELF Collaborative is also, while the database is important, I think that we also see that collaborating on promotion of local food is going to be just as important. And it's really a way to share resources and ideas around a promotional campaign to pull consumers into the local food movement and create interest and demand for local food, and then drive them to their local farmers and farms, and to the grocery stores that carry local food, or to restaurants that are serving local food. And so it really is just as much about that, just as much about promoting local food, and also providing consumers with information about why it's important to eat local food and to support your local agricultural community, and contribute to the resilience of our local food economy moving forward. So it's the database, but it's also making sure that consumers are getting good information about local food, they're learning and hearing about the importance of local food. And I think that statewide, you know, a lot of states have local food initiatives, or they have local food that's branded. And this is an area where I think we all felt Washington could use really a local, you know, a promotion, a Washington food campaign. And we're hoping that ultimately this is really going to be a driving force in that area.
Thank you, Melissa. That was really great to have you share that about the collaborative. I agree with you completely. It's been really exciting just to work together with these partner organizations on something that we were all putting a lot of resources and energy into individually, and to be able to come together and think about how we can really leverage the resources that we have to create something that is much more impactful together than all of us working alone. I wanted to really reiterate as well, what Cheryl was saying, that you can sign up for multiple databases at this point, multiple listings. So you can go in, if you're located, like we said, in Central or Eastern Washington, you can go in and sign up through the Washington State Food Finder or the Tilth Alliance Farm Guide. And you can look at those other regional databases as well to see if you can get on there. So I would encourage producers to sign up for as many of these as they can, given their service area, until we have just one place. Consumers are still going to be landing on this page and potentially searching based on where they're located. I'm just looking at the chat here.
So Laura, I'm wondering, is there an effort underway to, and I think there was a grant, so that a producer could input once and then it would populate the different food finder maps? Is that still being pursued?
That's the goal.
Okay.
Is to get, that's the end goal. So that's the local food promotion program grant that we applied for, and we had several additional. So we had the ELF collaborative partners on there, and then we also had other letters of support from other organizations and directories in the state. So I want to give a shout out to them as well. I think the Methow, is it the Methow Conservancy, as well as Gorge Grown, and I think there might be a couple others that also just supported the effort for us to come together and build a collaborative database, or one place to come. And that's our hope, is that you could enter one list, you could create one listing, and it would be accessible.
Okay.
It wouldn't necessarily populate all of those. We're hoping that eventually we don't need to have all those platforms, but it could potentially populate additional platforms.
And then what about the Spanish language or other languages? Is there consideration for like a button that would translate, or how is that being pursued?
Yeah, we have definitely talked a lot about trying to have a translator tool in the database. And I don't know if Marissa wants to talk a little bit more about if there's that already in the database for either the farm guide. I know we're using the same software developer who worked on actually both of those projects separately right now, to think of what that one would look like. And let's see if any of the partners have additional information about that.
Yeah, I can speak for the Food Atlas. This is Marissa. We have implemented a Google Translate plugin to the eatlocalfirst.org site. So there's a drop down right at the top of the navigation bar where you can select from a plethora of languages, and it will translate the site. It's not perfect, but I have gotten feedback from partners that it works. So it's, yeah, I think much better than where we're at right now. And also we can continue to improve upon that, but it is in place on the eatlocalfirst.org website.
Well, I applaud you and the others for making it accessible for all folks. I think that really speaks to the equity of access. So yeah, thank you. Kudos to you.
I just saw a comment here, and I see that Gwen already responded to it, but Karen Affeld, who's from the North Olympic Development Council, and she's part of the Olympic Peninsula ELF Collaborative. And so, yeah, CLIA is participating in this in this collaborative effort on behalf of the Olympic Peninsula Collaborative.
And if I can, Laura, Karen, I'm also part of that group working. So I think we've got some good representation coming back to the Olympics.
Yeah, I think our group was aware of and excited about the database project, but I don't think that it was clear, at least it was not clear to me, that this was going to be this larger thing. And so, you know, we're a group that does not have staff, and making sure that communications come down to our group effectively. CLIA doesn't usually attend our meetings. So
Can I add one thing in there? This is Gwen from Tilth Alliance. I think there's a lot of, just like you, Karen, there are a lot of people out there who we have a, the Eat Local First Collaborative right now. It could grow really big, and we realize we need to figure out how this is going to work with maybe a smaller group. Make sure we actually are on the same page, and to get far enough in a group, and then start reaching out to others. At the same time, reaching out to others has happened, and they're asking some of the same questions as you are. So we're kind of a push and pull, trying to make sure it's going to work, and then also make sure that we're inclusive and don't accidentally leave people out. So thank you for speaking out.
Yeah, I think our group has work to do to figure out, how we relate to others as a group that is a collaborative and does not have staff. How we handle that is kind of our internal work to do. But I just want to make sure that that the work gets represented, but both directions, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Karen. And I was hoping that we would hear from Clea today as well, or Kelly, who I know do a tremendous amount of work to just update those resources specifically for the Jefferson, Clallam, and Kitsap region. But we'll definitely try to get them on the call soon. And I think one of the things to share is all of these partners came together to work specifically on the grant. And then we had an opportunity to get some additional funds through the WSDA Regional Markets Program to actually move some of those its forward. And it was a very quick turnaround in terms of being able to create a landing page. So it took what we were planning on doing within the grant and sort of hybridized it or modified it based on some existing funds and the opportunity to at least create a landing page so that we could help consumers find local food and local community during COVID. So there hasn't really been a lot of additional work on our actual databases or on any of the project itself. It's been really about just creating this particular resource in the interim. So really happy to be able to hear about all the work that has been happening on the Olympic Peninsula. And I think that's one of the things that we're really excited about, is trying to figure out what, like Glenn was saying, who else across the state is doing this work and how can they also plug into this collaborative effort. And I totally hear you about not having staff time or funding to support the regional work that you're doing. And I think that's something that we feel very strongly about as well, is how do we not only advance this work, but how do we advance the opportunity for really helping support resource allocation across the state as well for local people that are helping run these directories and support them.
Yeah, and I think we don't necessarily want our local ELF collaborative to be an organization that has its own staff, and so there's just internal work to do about if that's the case, how do we relate to other groups effectively?
I think that I'm just curious though, right now, isn't it just Bellingham area? Whatcom, Bellingham, Sustainable Connections is really the only organization that actually has staff for their Eat Local First campaign. Is that correct? I'm just curious.
Well,
in terms
this
of
is Laura Raymond with WSDA. I mean, I think there's the Eat Local First collaborative specific sort of branding and collaborative work that has been going on in various forms in various places for some time. And then there are also other, as Laura Lewis was mentioning, there are other local branding and promotion efforts throughout our state that cover various regions, and those have varying levels of infrastructure and staff support. Some have none, some have robust. So I'll speak from my perspective at the state level with the WSDA, and as has been mentioned, we provided a small amount of what we were calling kind of a COVID rapid response support for this effort, because it's very exciting to see the collaboration across regions. And there was an immediate need to help consumers find local farmers fast and easily, as people were shifting their shopping habits really quickly and dramatically. And farmers were shifting their methods of getting food to consumers quickly and rapidly in the last several months. And so recognizing, well, anyway, so I will say to your question, Nicole, I think there's ELF, and then there's also similar but differently named independent efforts around the state. And one of the questions as we look from a consumer and a marketing and promotion perspective is, what do people who want to buy from local farms want and need in order to find those farms and buy from them in ways that work for farms and for the households doing the shopping? And I'm excited for, I also, like many on the call, I'm really hopeful that this grant proposal is funded, because I think that that will give an opportunity to look at those questions more carefully and look at the potential collaborations. And how do we have something in our state that promotes local and promotes Washington while retaining all of the really great and creative regional work and identities that are important? It's sort of like at the State Department of Ag, we are one of 3 or 4 states in the country that do not have a state brand program, like a state marketing brand program. And it's something that the director of WSDA, Director Sanderson, is really interested in. And so we've been having conversations about that, but as of yet have no plans or no funding to do something. But one part of that conversation ongoing is, how does it telescope? How do we retain these really important local identities while also not confusing shoppers, with how on earth, I just want to buy from a local farm. I don't understand, 50 different local identities. So there's a need for both of that. And I think that's part of this ongoing conversation, right? And putting on our branding, marketing hats.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly. I think that is our biggest challenge, is wanting to create something that's a statewide resource while retaining the regional and local identifiers for the consumers as they're using these platforms. So, and yeah, that's definitely, it's definitely what I think has taken up a lot of the time that we've been in meetings over the last several months, is just trying to wrap our heads around what that looks like, but really feeling thankful that we've come together to work on this together as we move forward. And we really welcome participation from other groups as well. I know Jude put some information on here about the Clark Conservation District has a listserv, so and that there's Slow Food listservs. The Skagit Food Access Map, Diane writes, is very local to our area. So this is what we're really hoping in the next week or two, as we push out information about this landing page, is that we learn more and more about those resources that we can put under those regional tabs that I showed you. So someone can go, and they live in Western Washington, they can hit Western Washington, and they'll either just randomly select one of those if they've never heard of any of those databases, or hopefully there'll be some brand recognition and they'll select one that they're familiar with, but they at least have access to that information. And I see here, Nicole also just sent a video telling the story of Eat Local First, which we can share. We can post that up on our website as well. Yeah, so any other questions? We'd really love to be able to get feedback from all of you. We'd love for you to visit the landing page today so that you can check it out for yourself. You can send it out to your networks. You can use the press release as well. I have a link to that right here to send out to your farmers, producers in your area, businesses that are connected to the Washington food system, really trying to get the word out that this is a resource that's available, and it's a really great time right now as well, since sometimes these databases, it costs money to place a listing on these platforms, and right now it's completely free. We're really trying to ramp up opportunity for food and farm businesses across the state to be able to create listings.
Yeah, and Laura, if I could just add onto what Laura Raymond was talking about, and someone else had commented about their organization not having staff. I think that's what makes this collaborative so exciting for me, is that we all have resources and abilities to do certain things really well. But when we're all trying to do all the things really well, we can't take our resources as far. And so I'm really excited about reducing the duplication of effort and making this work go really far and reach, you know, all eaters in Washington. I have an example of, you know, how we interact with Genuine Skagit Valley, which is a very hyper local promotional campaign to draw attention to producers in Skagit County. And we work to promote their farms as well. And it allows them to play to their strengths and be able to use their resources really specifically to promote the Skagit Valley brand, but also be a part of the Eat Local First campaign, where we are offering the Eat Local First food atlas to give farmers the opportunity to list their business. And so there's just like multiple layers of being able to tell that story and get that information and help people connect as many ways as possible. But also, I think, like Laura Raymond was saying, having one spot where we can promote, that people can go to find all of the farms in our state is going to be really valuable. So I'm really excited to see what we can do.
I want to just thank our Tilth partners. I know that they have to hop off the call by 11 for another meeting that they have to attend. So I just want to thank all of them for participating, and we can still take more questions, comments, anything else that people want to discuss related to the database.
Actually, I'm staying on the call. I'm the designated hitter for Tilth.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks, Cheryl.
Thanks, Laura. I appreciate the time to be able to share this, this work.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know, I kind of wanted to make the point about, in working on this, you know, in addition to the promotion and kind of how do you create more of a consumer awareness culture about local food, which is something that I think we've all seen as a result of COVID-19, is that it also has to trickle down into sort of the business development side, which something Patricia has been working on. There's a sort of a subsection of the collaborative of how people have been sort of working on different things. So for example, Marissa and I have been working with the developer on the back end of what the back end of the website will look like. And Patricia and Gwen and Melissa and Sarah, and I think I have been kind of working on the business development side. But there is a profound lack of awareness from funding partners. And I'm not talking about grants, but I'm talking about in sort of the business development side, how that trickles into corporations and other funding opportunities, about awareness around how important it is to have a thriving, successful, healthy, regional, hyper-local, statewide food system. And what does that really mean? And there's a lot of education that has to take place there with those funders to really understand the importance of supporting this work, because in the funding world, outside of the grants that we all rely on, there's very little awareness of what it means to support the food system, and funding for this work is often sort of at the bottom of the funding bucket. And so there's work that will take place there as well. So it's really important for us as a group, and this is something we've talked about, and Patricia can talk to it more, about really it's an opportunity to to create more awareness in the media, in the funding community with philanthropists, and just what does it mean to eat local and why is it important? And it's more important than ever before. So I know Laura and others know that I've stood on that little soapbox, but it's not just talking with all of you. We have to also talk with other partners, and it's really critical for us to have this kind of support, like Pat, you writing this piece in the Spokane Review next week is huge. It's critical because we really need to be able to have that kind of media support.
Yeah, I'll just jump in if I can, because I have been working with Melissa and Sarah and Gwen and Laura Lewis on developing a business plan for this project, because it's great that we have the USDA grant in front of us, but there are no guarantees. And again, what really makes this collaborative so amazing is that we really are bringing our strengths, our best gifts to the table to kind of keep this going. And we hope that, by developing this business plan, just as Cheryl said, that we're going to get this in front of a whole lot of people, not just the usual suspects, because this food system impacts all of us and we're all part of the food system, regardless of, our line of work. We're all eaters. So I'm just really excited about it. And I think this atlas has huge potential. And I saw somebody comment about the whole connectivity with farmers to farmers. I think the food atlas, when it's, yes, it can be used in that way as well, really helping to build relationships up and down the supply chain, because I think that's going to be critical to really make sure that we have a very resilient food system moving forward. So thanks.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Patricia. We just had a really great idea from Pat Muntz too, to have like a fact sheet or some sort of 2-pager that we could produce and have available for things like county commissions, city councils. So that's a great idea, something that we'll definitely put on our to-do list. Any other ideas out there or comments?
I wanted to just share and piggyback off of what Cheryl was saying. I had a Zoom call last night with 4 farmers that were on a panel for us following up our virtual farm tour. And we had Rich Apple from Apple Cheese, and I had asked the panel, about how COVID has affected their farming business and how they've had to shift and adapt, and how we can support as a community. And he pointed out that we need people to speak up to their local grocers, to their local communities, and to share. It's a grassroots movement. And so what was interesting about this is the cheesemakers in our region were really suffering at the beginning of the pandemic, and they came together and rallied and created a press release and got that out to their partners. And people went and asked their local grocers to carry local cheese or promote local cheese. And they did that, and it really impacted their sales. And I just think it's a great example of how we can, even in small circles, make a big difference. And, Hagen and even Seattle markets have started picking up and promoting these local cheese producers just from our little corner up here in Whatcom County. And so, yeah, I think that just building on the momentum of what is needed right now during this pandemic and how people are trying to connect with local farms and local food producers, I think that it's just the perfect timing for this project. And so I'm excited that there's so many people that are willing to partner and share and help get the word out so that we can make this really impactful.
Yeah, I think one of the most satisfying aspects of working on this project with all of you is the fact that it feels like something that we're doing right now, not only in response to COVID, but in response to what we've needed for a long time across the Washington food system. And it's one of those opportunities, Laura Raymond and I were talking about this the other day, where we've seen holes in our food system, or we have gaps or needs, and we aren't always able to address them. And with this pandemic, many of those have risen to the top to become really urgent needs. And we've been given the opportunity to pivot and address them in ways that maybe we weren't able to before. And I'm really hoping that this is one of those opportunities that we see be something that really strengthens the Washington food system, not only during COVID, but way, way beyond COVID. And I think that's something that we continue to talk about as a group of partners, is how do we make this sustainable? How do we not rely on getting a grant every 3 or 4 years to keep it going, but to make it something that is really a cornerstone of the Washington food system and access to local food. So yeah, it's been really exciting.
Laura, I just want to mention that there's another ongoing series of calls that the local food trust and a couple other folks have been engaged in helping to facilitate. And it is really around, again, the food system, but what needs to be funded and how should it be funded. And I'm going to put my email in the chat box. And if anybody wants to get on those calls, just email me and I'll make sure you get on the distribution list. They're every 2 weeks.
Oh, we lost you there, Patricia.
Oh, I was just gonna, that's all I had.
Okay, great. I think she said they're every 2 weeks. So she's gonna put her email in the chat box. So if anyone wants to participate in those calls, just go ahead and follow up with her. I'm going to open it up now just for general discussion and anything else that people want to share about their programs, upcoming events, what they've been up to, you know, how things are going out in their world. ABBA is putting a plug in for the International Quinoa Research Symposium, which is a free online bilingual event, August 17th through 19th, focused on sustainable production of quinoa worldwide. There are over 1,000 people registered from 40 countries, and it is really going to be a fantastic program. It's also our first big test as a program to see if we're able to witness that we are able to pull off a virtual conference. So we're really excited to be able to produce this, and ABBA's been working very long hours to pull that together. Cheryl wanted me to announce that the RFP is out for the Tilth Alliance conference. So if you have a great project that you want to be able to talk about at Tilth, go ahead and look at that request for proposals. She just posted it in the chat box. It also came out in our newsletter on Wednesday. The deadline to submit proposals is August 18th. The Tilth conference will be November 9th and 10th, and that is also going to a virtual online format. We'll just have to have the Tilth folks back to talk more about the conference and the work that they're doing as well. I know there's a lot more. Melissa and her crew could definitely take up an entire hub call.
So I think there is something that I want to share to just maybe end on a happy note. And it's the video that was created that we shared already in the chat, but can we take a second just to watch it? It's only a minute.
Sure. Is it the Eat Local First video?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you want to do it? Probably have better internet than I do.
Let me see here.
If you can pull it up in your...
I'll see here. Okay.
Oh, no sound. Oh, really? Because you have headphones on.
I can share it if you want.
Special about having a relationship with the people.
Here, start it over.
It's a match made in heaven, right? Can you all hear it now?
Yes.
As a mom, it just makes sense to use the freshest, healthiest ingredients I can find. So as a chef, I'm in love with our local farmers. I mean, there's something so special about having a relationship with the people who grow and catch our food. It's a match made in heaven, right? When you taste locally grown greens, locally caught fish, or fresh locally made bread, ingredients you know haven't sat on a truck for days, it tastes like food's supposed to taste. Sometimes you forget until you try it again. It's just that much better. And my dollars stay right here in our community, keeping our farmers in business, something we all care about. And the farmers love seeing what I create from all the goodness they grow, catch, and cultivate, including the fresh local berries and flowers we use. Order up. But the real test comes when I put that final plate in front of a discerning diner. The proof is in the empty plate.
Great video, sustainable connections.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I just wanted, the why is so much a fuel for the work we do, and that's the why, right? Like connecting all of the pieces of the food system, and yeah.
Can you all hear that still? There we go. Sorry.
No, you were okay.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just hearing the next YouTube video in my headset. So
that's okay. No, I was saying that, yeah, I often have to take a step back and just remember the why of the work, and that it is a cycle and a circle, and the farmers need the support of the chefs, and the chefs need the support of the community, and we are here to support all of them, and it's really exciting when it comes together.
Definitely.
Now I want a salmon burger.
Yeah, right.
I'm hungry. It worked.
Any other announcements or updates that people want to share, whether it's regarding the Eat Local First Collaborative or anything else going on in the state right now? I know Pat shared a link to a survey, or Janelle Harvey from the Spokane Food Policy Council invites local food system stakeholders to have a voice in plans to reduce food insecurity and improve our regional food system. So there's a survey link in there. Janelle, is that just for people that live in the Spokane region, or do you want that to be?
Yes, it's about 100 miles within Spokane is the region that we're asking to take the survey. And I apologize, I missed the first part of the meeting where Pat may have announced this already.
Nope, perfect opportunity to do it now. Thank you. Okay, well, if there isn't anything else to share or to discuss, we will close the meeting today. And I want to just thank all of our presenters today. It's been really exciting. Like I said, we kind of jumped into this as it was already midstream. So it's been really exciting as the Food Systems Program to look at how we can support this collaborative partnership moving forward. And so yeah, I just, again, really want to thank all of the partners for participating today. I wanted to give a plug in for our next speakers we have coming up. So next week, August 14th, starting at 10 a.m., we will have Colleen Donovan from the Washington State Farmers Market Association and Jennifer Antos from the Seattle Neighborhood Farmers Markets on the call to talk about the impact of COVID on farmers markets. You may remember a couple weeks ago, we had the WSDA presenting about their economic analysis that they did of the Washington food system, particularly related to farmers. And there was a lot of concern and questions that were raised about how farmers markets are doing right now. So we're really excited to have both Colleen and Jennifer participate next week and share with us what's happening across the state in terms of not only farmers markets, but farmers markets associations. And again, just a reminder to send us information that we can post to our calendar events, to take the needs survey, the needs assessment tool, and just to thank you again for your participation. We're thrilled to be able to host these hub calls and look forward to seeing you every single week. It's the highlight of our week. So I just want to say thank you and be well.